Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken's Training. Today's training, what we're going to do is we're going to create an underwater electrical connection and make it waterproof. The situation is this: I've got a fountain outside. In the fountain, the water trickles down and ultimately ends in what we call a fountain vault. Just an area where the water collects, where it goes for the suction side of the pump, gets pumped and then just gets recirculated through the fountain. Now, what's happening is that I need to make an electrical connection that's going to be submerged in water in the vault. And the way that I do that is with this here is a float switch, just like a sump pump float switch. And it originally comes with this type of a connector here on the end, and then this would your sump pump would be connected into here in line with this, and as the float level was to rise, it would close the switch and it would allow the sump pump to turn on and discharge the water until it came down, and then the switch would the circuit would open and the pump would shut off for a sump pump. But that is not my application. What I am doing is I'm using this switch here for the water makeup. So in other words, when the water level declines, the switch opens and it goes to the water level sensing controller and allows the fill valve, which is a solenoid control valve, to start adding water into the fountain. And as the water level comes up, then the switch here closes, shutting off the water for the makeup. So this is how my situation works. And what's happening is that we go through one of these floats about every 6 months, and then we perform an autopsy on the float by taking a hacksaw, cutting it here. We remove this and we find that this is filled with water. So what's happening is that normally I'm making up the electrical connection here underwater. This is one that I've cut out from previous. And I'm using this material here, which is called potting compound. Now, potting compound is supposed to be the recommended product to use with an underwater connection. But what I believe is happening is that the water is getting in, permeating through the potting compound, going through into my my conductors, down inside the jacket here, and ultimately making it over to my switch, which is right here. And it's just leaching its way inside of this SO cable, inside the switch, and then ultimately water's getting in there and it's killing my connection. So I need to create this end over here that's going to be underwater, and there's going to be another line just like it coming on the other side. So here's the two wires. This here is in a classroom environment. I'm going to be out in the field doing this job. I'm giving you the understanding about what I'm going to be doing out in the field, then we'll go out and do it. But I need to create this underwater and have this 100% liquid tight. And the product that I've been using solely, which is potting compound, rated for this connection, isn't cutting the mustard. I'm getting contamination. I'm getting water into my switch. And supposedly the water is not supposed to permeate through this line. So the only thing that's left is just this connection. So how am I going to do that? Now, this is the first time I've made this particular care. All I've done in the past is done this, which is just a potting compound wire netted connection and then saturated with potting compound, making supposedly a waterproof joint. But now what I'm going to do is this. Okay, I've purchased PVC pipe. This is 1 1/4 PVC pipe right here, and 2 end caps. Also, what I've purchased, hang on, let me just put this up here, is I've purchased these, what's called strain relief plugs. These were like $4 at the Home Depot. The PVC was like $5. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take my new float switch. Okay, hang on. I'll just use this as a demonstration. This is from the old wire. But the new float switch looks just like this. I'm going to feed this through the strain relief plug here into here. And then on the other side, I'm going to come through, I'll show you, through another strain relief plug here. And then just let that go. Bring this down, let that go. And then I'm going to go ahead and make up this connection here, just like I have in the past, which is just like this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, hang on one second, drop that. Okay, so once this connection is made up, actually here I can show you like this. Once this connection here is made up, hang on, put this like this. Hang on, I gotta open this up because it's a little fat. Okay, once that's made up like that, then I'm gonna put this, and I'm not gonna have it so big here. I'm gonna make sure the wire nuts are in tight, and then I'm gonna push that into here, and I'm gonna glue this with PVC glue. Put this cap on right here, so that this joint here is all completely capped. Then I'm going to fill this whole thing with a 100% pure silicone. Make that nice and smooth and flush. Then I'm going to cap off the other end here so that that's going to be capped, glued, sealed tight, and then this whole thing's going to be in there nice and tight. Then once that's done, I'm going to sand this whole thing down, and I'm going to cover the entire thing with Pond Shield. Let me show you that. Okay, here's the Pond Shield. I purchased this at Home Depot online. This particular one is sold like this, and it's a two-part epoxy mix, so you have to mix that up. So, and now what I'm going to do is, and I've used this for making repairs to the cement fountain before. I've never used it for an electrical connection like this, but it is a waterproofer made for fountains, made to sit in a bath of water like a swimming pool, a pond, or a fountain. So, and they even, on the picture here, you can see that it's rated for fountain use, and then here's a swimming pool or something. Anyways, this is like $80 for this 1 quart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this all down, give it a coat of epoxy, two-part epoxy, let that cure out, and then I'm going to give it another coat, sand it down again, and then give it another coat of epoxy. Unless I do it with, I think, I'll read the directions, maybe you can give it the second coat within a certain time frame. You don't need to re-sand. So the point is I'm going to be completely waterproofed on the inside with potting compound, then 100% silicone, glued with PVC glue, glued shut tight. My strain relief valves, we're going to be, not valves, but these connectors are going to be tight, cinched down, and then Pond Shield, 2 coats all over the exterior of this, trying to seal up any little penetration of water here, here, and here. That should do it. That should give me a 100% waterproof joint. I hope. This is my first time making this connection. This is my intention, and that's it. Next video shot will be actually down in the vault where I'll be making the connections. Also, while I'm here in the classroom environment, I wanted to show you how the potting compound works. Alright, so basically the potting compound comes in a kit like this from Grainger. And I should mention the price. Let's see. From Grainger, the potting compound is part number 25 Ella and Larry 049. This package here was about $43. Oh, and the float switch, that's the part that I'm using, is part number 6 Paul Nancy Umbrella 4, and that is $27.41 for the float switch. Now, on the potting compound, when you open up the box, it comes with just some gloves, so you can work with gloves, a mixing paddle spoon right here, this cleaner right here, which is Cable Cleaning Pads CC3. So whatever it is that you're going to put the potting compound on, they want you to first clean it. It's like an alcohol once you open this thing up. It's like an alcohol swab. So you're going to completely clean the surface and get it ready. Then you get this packet here, which actually has the potting compound mix in it, labeled 3M Scotch Cast Potting Kit 2136. So you take that, open that up, and this is what you have inside. Now, it's a two-part, it's in one baggie here, and so you've got your hardener and your resin over here. So there's a strip down the center right here that's preventing the two from mixing. So the directions are on the packet there, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to take and open up this seal right here, mixing this whole thing back and forth like that. Then you can cut the tip off, and then you're good to go and apply your potting compound. So while we're in a classroom environment, I just wanted to explain what the potting compound looks like, because I'm not sure with the video quality once I'm down in the vault. It's going to be a little dark, and there's an echo because I'm surrounded by concrete. Okay, so that's it, and the next shot will be down in the... Sorry, one last thing while we're in the classroom. It's going to be, this is the silicone that I'm going to use after the potting compound connection has cured and I pull it into the PVC piping. I'm going to use this silicone here. Let me show you what that looks like. Hang on. So basically it's GE silicone. I think this is $8 a tube. And the important part is that it's 100% pure silicone. This particular one is black. It doesn't matter what color you choose, but basically I'm just making sure that it's not just caulking, it's 100% pure silicone. So it's the more expensive of the two products, and also supposed to be it's supposed to be premium waterproof too. It actually says the words right on it right there, premium waterproof. Anyways, I just wanted to show you that. Those are the products that I'm going to be using, and we continue. Alright, so here's the top of the fountain. Obviously I got the fountain off just before I go down, but basically I pulled back the grate, and I'm going to go down this ladder right here and then into the vault right there. So I just want to show you from the top perspective. Okay, so here I am down in the vault, and I've got my connectors right here. So this here is one side that's going to the flow control. So I just fed through the wire, and so I've got the end right here ready to be connected. On the other end, which is going to my float, I just fed it through the connector. And then I've got these two wires here. I'm going to strip these back, get these prepped, and I just have to make sure that when I'm done, that I can take this and slip it over, because ultimately it's going to go inside of here in a bath of 100% pure silicone. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to strip these back and get these wire nutted and prepped for the potting compound. Okay, here's my wire nutted connection right there, nice and tight. I got it close to here, so that way when I pull, let me show you. When I pull this over it and I pull this in here, it'll sit inside of that in a nice bath of silicone really well, so I won't have to worry about that. Alright, so that is the wire nutted connection. Before I put the potting compound on, I'm going to just do some testing to make sure that my float switch is controlling my solenoid valve appropriately, because I don't want to break that connection. Once I put the potting compound on, that's it, I'm home free. So I'm going to just do some testing off camera, and then I'll put the potting compound on. Okay, the float switch has passed the tests, and the float switch is operating the solenoid valve correctly, which is exactly what I want. I'm ready to apply the potting compound. For personal protective equipment, I put some gloves on, and I'm wearing some eye protection just to protect myself a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is open up the cable cleaning pad CC number 3. So I'm just going to open that up. It's got like a solvent on that. It's got a good smell to it too. It's pretty strong. And I give you a lot of this. I don't have a large area. I probably won't even need that much. I'll put some of it back in case I do need more. Keep it clean and uncontaminated. But basically, I'm just going to clean this entire deal here. I don't want to get too much on the cord, so I'm only going to go out to like about here to here ultimately, and I'm just going to try to clean everything inside here as well as I can. And pretty much that is it. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. I'll wipe that down with a towel just before I put the other stuff. So I'm just going to put that to the side for a moment. Use a towel to wipe the solvent off of my hands. Now I'm going to take the potting compound, which is like this. I'm going to now try to open up this center section here. Okay, here we go. It almost feels like you're going to break the packet, but it's opening up that interior section, joining the two compartments together. Okay, I can feel it opening right there, and let me make sure it's fully opened. Okay, it is. Now the two compartments which were separated are now opened. I'm going to take the flat stick that came with it, and I'm going to move the product from one side to the other and back again. I'm going to do this a couple times. And I'm just going to keep mixing this up. I'm also going to knead it together like this, just in a haphazard manner, just to get this fully mixed. So I'll go ahead and, it's just up against a wall here, where I can get pretty much all of that out. Alright, and now I'm going to go back again the other way. I want to try to get that hardener and resin just mixed up, just as good as I can get it mixed up. But I don't have all the time in the world here. I've got to get this thing prepped and ready to go within a reasonable short period of time, no longer than a minute max. So pretty much this is it. I'm going to push it all to this corner here, and we're going to get ready to rock. Okay, so pretty much that's ready to go. Now, I'm going to just take a towel on my connection that I have right here. I'm just going to dry that down, trying to get that solvent dry. And that's good. Now I'm just going to take a utility knife, get a corner of this like that. Okay. Now I'm actually going to be applying the potting compound. So here we go. I'm going to try to push that out. Hold on. Okay, it's right there. Alright, now it's right at the tip, where I can now put that in right there. Now I'm just going to saturate this whole area. Now again, I don't want to go too crazy. This product is getting warm, by the way. It's warm to the touch. There's a chemical reaction. There's heat. I can feel it on my hands. So I'm going to try to get this, and there's a smell to this product as well. Alright. Now this is supposed to be, all by itself, a nice waterproofer, but as you know, as I explained earlier, I was having those problems, and here I'm going to try to correct those problems. It's awfully thick to work with, so I'm just trying to keep it as small in here as possible. I don't want too much to go out. And keeping it nice to the core there. as tight as I can get it anyways. Alright. Now, that's just about good. Just get a little bit more on there. Alright. That's pretty much all the product I'm going to use. I'm just going to put another glove on and then use the smoothing stick to try to smooth it out. Hang on a second. The glove's giving me a hard time. There it is. Okay. So now I'm just going to try to use this stick here, trying to keep my hands cleaner, and I'm just trying to smooth that out, get it all the way around. This product alone is supposed to be enough of a waterproofer, but it just wasn't working out for me for my application. It wasn't enough. So that's why I'm taking these extra steps here. I don't want to keep working this to death. It's awfully thick, so it just keeps rolling off. Alright, and pull that back a little bit there. I don't want it to go up the cord too much. I'm trying to keep my cord kind of clean because it has to go in those strain relief, and it's got to be as smooth as possible to make that connection. I'm trying to make that also a waterproof connection as well. Okay. Alright, so pretty much that's it. I'm just going to tie this off so it doesn't touch anything. And leave that overnight to let it cure out. So pretty much that's it for now. Over and out. Alright, welcome back. We now have the potting compound is cured. We just waited about 3 hours or so. This stuff dries pretty quick. It is an epoxy. Okay, so now that that's completed, I'm ready for my next step, which is to glue together a section of this pipe and then put some 100% pure silicone, which I have right here in a caulking gun ready to go, and then bring that into there and let that cure out. So basically that's where I'm at right now. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to glue this joint in right here. So just like any joint that you're going to glue, I've got my primer right here, and here we go. We're going to do this right now. So first it's the primer around here. Okay, that's good to go. Now the glue. Get the glue ready. And of course, once I do the glue, I only have seconds, so here we go. Going around there, and now go inside of here, drop that down, throw that in, give it a twist, and then hold. And now I'm just securing that, making sure that's good and tight. Alright, I cannot twist it. That feels totally solid. That feels like a good joint right there. Nice and well made up. Okay, now that I've done that, what I can do now is I can fill this cavity. Well, let me just get this a little bit tighter, right about to here. And I'm going to put my gun down here, and I'm going to fill the bottom of that cavity and then push this into the silicone. So now I've got my silicone, and I'm going to push this in there, and I'm going to get a good amount of silicone in the bottom. Let's see how much we got there. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Let me release that pressure. Alright, let me just leave that up here for now. And make sure that's going all the way around. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let me just put a little more in there. Alright, I'm going to stop right there. And now I'm going to depress this all the way in there. like so. I've got a little bit of silicone coming back on me here, but that's okay, that's not harming anything. Okay, I'm not even tight here yet, that's just hand tight, just to hold that in. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and silicone up this section right here. Just try to keep that wire in the center is what my goal is going to be. Okay, let me get that pressure off of there. Now, I'm just going to pack that in with my finger. So basically, I got potting compound, and now I've got silicone. Alright, let me see if I can just get that to stay just like that. Alright, pretty much that's it. I'm going to try to keep the wire directly in the center, because when I pull this cap through, I want that wire to be directly in the center to have it feed in as easy as possible. But that is looking perfect. I'm going to leave this set up overnight, and I'm going to let that silicone cure out. Then tomorrow we're going to come back and we're going to glue up the other side. So you'll see the following steps come tomorrow. Hello tubers, welcome back to our video, which is creating an underwater electrical waterproof connection. Now, when I first showed you the step in which I was on, I put black silicone in here. Now you'll notice this is clear silicone, and I'm going to explain why that is. What happened was, this is the tube of black silicone that I had used. The expiration date, if you can zoom in on that, says that it expires on September 2012. This is 2014. So I know that this tube expired 2 years ago, but when I poured it out, here it is right here. I did a little tabletop example. I thought that as long as it was going to be liquid, it was going to be okay. It turns out that what's happening is that it never hardens. It just stays in this liquid format. So basically what I had to do, see, here's an example. Here's some clear silicone, and you'll notice how this is 1 day old. And you see how rock hard that is? That's the way silicone is supposed to harden up, not like this. So anyways, mine was never setting up properly because it was expired. So what I had to do was I pulled this whole thing out, and then I took paper towels, completely had to wipe away all the silicone, and then just start over from scratch the same way that you saw before, but this time with this tube, which is clear silicone, and the expiration date on this one is December 2014, so it still has 6 months worth of life. I already poured it, and it's already hardened up after 1 day because it's proper silicone. So I never ran into an expired tube of silicone before, so that set me back on this project. But if you're to take away anything from this video, do not use expired silicone. Double check your dates on that. So this tube the rest of that tube has to go into the trash. I got no use for it. It doesn't act like silicone. It never hardens up on me. Now, let's get back to our waterproof connection. Now that this is all cured up, we already know that I glued this joint right here. My next joint to glue is from here to right here. So here we go. I'm gonna do that joint right now. Here's my primer. First I'm gonna wipe and get this nice and primed up there. Plus I'm gonna do the same over here. I'm gonna try to show you, the audience, that as best I can. Alright, there's that. Now we're on to the glue. Once I do the glue, I only have 30 seconds. I don't have much time, so I've got to be somewhat quick. I can't be dilly-dallying here. So here we go. I got my glue on my stick. We're going to do it right now. First I'm going to glue here. Now I'm going to glue inside of here real well. Put that down, push that in, give it a twist, and then hold. I'm going to hold that for at least 10 seconds, and I'm going to let that set up just proper. Alright, there it is. I can tell that I've got it because I'm trying to twist it, and it is not twisting. So I've got a real good joint right there. So right there, I'm glued here, I'm totally solid. Now, I'm going to just pull this back here a little bit and see if that will come out. Actually, that's siliconed in right there. I'm going to leave that alone. Now on the other side, I still have a little bit of hole there, so what I'm going to do, let me just quickly cap and close my my glue and my primer, because I'm done with these products. Gluing and priming is completely done. I'm just going to put those aside for the time being. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of silicone. This is that clear silicone that I just purchased. I'm just going to stick it down in here to try to get that in there a little bit. And I think that's about all I'm going to get out of that. Alright, so I'm going to release this and bring this into play right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and cap this. The glue's got a strong smell to it down here. Alright, so let me go ahead and get that nice tight. Okay, so that one's tight. Let me get the other side tight. And let me just get a wrench on that. And I'm just going to tighten that up right there. Hang on. It's slipping off a little bit. Let's use this tool. Alright, that one's set up. And that one there is set up. So both of those are good. So we know that we're totally waterproofed from here to here. The whole thing is waterproofed to this point from here to here. Now, technically or theoretically, we should even be waterproofed here and here. Well, I don't know about waterproof, but definitely a good joint because that's pinched in on the SO cord. But we want to be 100% because we don't want to come back and revisit this. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to dry this out, clean this out rather, like so. Alright, so this here is some emery cloth, basically sandpaper, but it says aluminum oxide 52 on the back side here. So basically all I'm going to do now is I'm going to rough up all the way around here, including the cord, because this is where my pond shield, my next product, is going to go. So I'm just going to take and scuff up or rough up this surface all the way around this here. So I'm going to try to do that real well, and I'm going to do this on both sides. So this is going to take me a couple of minutes, so I'll go off camera while I rough this up. Okay, tubers, we changed the location to on top of the vault. The fumes were just too much, you know, to make up the Pond Shield product, which you purchase at the Home Depot. you have to use a denatured alcohol. That stinks. Plus, from the glue project here, the fumes were just getting to us because there's not enough air circulation down in the vault. So we came out here on top of the vault. Now, I've already sanded down the sections that I told you about from here to here, from here to here, and I also sanded down really well. Not that I need it, but if I have extra pond shield, I'm going to touch this joint and this joint. So I sanded them down. I took a rag with some denatured alcohol. I wiped everything down really well. So this is 100% clean on the whole deal all the way around. Now, here's our pond shield. It's already mixed up, ready to go. So I'm not going to give you instructions on how to mix that up. But if you purchase pond shield, the directions are with that. So now I'm going to just completely saturate this whole joint right here with pond shield, which is a 2-part waterproof epoxy. Now, I have used this product in the past on my water fountain. So if you go into my YouTube channel and you see that, you'll see where I've done that with the water fountain, and you'll see the excellent waterproofing results I've had with that. It looks like the weakest link is going to be right there, where I'm going to have to build that up with some pond shield. Hopefully you can see I'm totally getting that in there, and that's totally filling that up nicely. Alright, so as I want that to harden up. As a 2-part epoxy, this hardens up real well. Mind you, this is just coat number 1. I will be putting 2 coats on this. Now I have plenty of pond shield, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this joint and the other joint right now. Alright, there's that one. And just getting the other one here. Okay. Now I'm going to work my way back over to this side here. Just kind of holding it near the bucket, so if it drips, it just kind of drips in the bucket. It doesn't really make a mess anywhere. Oh, there's my phone. Let me just put that to voicemail. And I want to go on the cord nice and well. I did also sand the cord down. Now the purpose of sanding is to rough up and scuff the part that I want the pond shield to attach to. So if you rough it up and scuff your surface, you'll get that much better adhesion. Alright, let me just observe what's happening here. Make sure I've got it all the way around. I see a little bit of a break right there. I'm going to go ahead and touch that. Alright, so pretty much I'm done at this point in time. I have to just wait for this to harden out and then give it a second coat. And if I have to, because I really want this to cure out extremely well, I may even come back for a third coat if that's what is necessary to make this all just the way I want it to be. Put a little extra material in there. Alright, I'm going to leave that like that, because I can tell that that's really curing out that seal right there. I'm just going to leave that like that. I got a little pond shield on my bucket here. So basically that's it for now, tubers. We're just going to let this harden out and then just come back for coat number 2. I can't remember what the directions say. It might be 1 to 3 hours or within 8 hours, so I'll double check the directions on that. Give it the second coat when pond shield tells me that it's okay. And once we're done with this, we should have a waterproof joint, but we'll resume once we get to that. Alright, so here is the electrical connection that we're ready to put the second coat on. Now it's working out best for us to leave it kind of like this, where we got it suspended, just kind of held on by the grate there, and then underneath, if there's a if it's going to drip, it's going to drip into this plastic bag. So we're actually going to, it's been given one coat. We're going to give it one more coat like this. Then we're going to let that cure out. Oh, by the way, we've waited about an hour to an hour and a half. Right now it's tacky, but it leaves no residue on your fingers, so it's acceptable for a second coat. If you waited more than 12 hours, you'd have to sand it down. We don't want to get into that. We want to produce as less work for us as possible. So and you can kind of see how on the first coat, how it kind of is blotchy, the way that it's not full coverage, and especially there on the cord, you can see that blotchiness. The section right there where I really wanted to get good though, that top section, that really looks nice. But we're going to go ahead and give this the second coat here. The camera angle may not be the best, only because we want to leave this in that position where it's at right now. So I'm just trying to explain what we're doing. So I'll try to get you some footage of that when we get to it. Okay, so here we are now applying the second coat. And we'll try to show you that after it's been put on to see how much thicker it got. Well, pretty much this is just like painting. That's all it is. Just trying to get in the cracks and crevices, get everything nice and sealed up. What we're trying to do is waterproof. That's the name of the game here. We're all into waterproofing. So there it is right there with the second coat. You can see how nicely tan. Just there's a few I see some blotchiness on the SO cord on the top there, but generally speaking though, this is filled in really nicely. And we're just gonna finish touching this up here, and then letting this settle out for another hour and a half, and then giving it flipping it over and then getting the other side. That's basically the process though. Okay, welcome back to the final episode of our how to create an underwater electrical connection that is waterproof, 100% waterproof. So here is the final product of all the work that we've been doing. You'll notice that the great detail in any potential water source problem that could potentially get in there is completely sealed with the product that we have here, which is Pond Shield. So let me just recap on the entire project. When we took the SO cable and we brought it through these stress relief grommets and into this PVC plastic, what I did was I made my electrical connection with wire nuts, and then I used potting compound that I purchased at the Home Depot. One package, that was $50. Then I went and put silicone in. The first silicone I put in was actually expired, so it was bad, so I had to pull that out because it never cured. And then I purchased a fresh tube at the Home Depot for like $8, 100% pure silicone, and then poured that, saturated that in the plastic housing, brought my electrical connection in there, and then let that cure out. Then I glued the second cap on, put that on, put some extra silicone into the joint as much as possible. I let that whole thing cure out, put the grommets on the strain relief, tighten those out. Then we sanded down even a little bit of the SO cord just to kind of rough it up, and sanded down everything right here to get the best adhesion on the Pond Shield. Then we gave it about 3 coats of Pond Shield, and it is pretty. So between all of this waterproof connection, this underwater electrical connection should be 100% waterproof at this time. I mean, it's about as the best product that I could possibly give it to accomplish this. Now, we are protecting, the whole reason why we're doing this is to protect this float switch. So what's happening is in the past, when I was making up an electrical connection just before the float switch, the water would get through and it would leach actually inside of this SO cord, leach right into the switch, and then in 6 months later the switch has got water in it, and the switch is no longer a switch. It's malfunctioned because of the water. So we know this because when the last switch failed, we cut it open like this, we took it apart, and it had water in it. So it's getting water infiltration. It wasn't like it was cracked on the housing or anything like that. This is a float switch meant for water. So, and this is the factory connection right here, so should be perfectly fine. Plus they sell the SO cord made to be in a water environment. So the weakest link in the whole system was the closest joint to this switch, or the closest electrical connection, I should say, to this switch. So with this, rather than getting 5 to 6 months of a service life out of this switch, I'm hoping I can get 15 years out of this switch. At least 5 years would be wonderful compared to 5 months or 6 months. So, but basically that is the reason why we took all that great care to create this. We want to get longevity out of this because it takes time to empty the vault out here and take it out of service and put it back in service and everything like that. Okay, I can show you the final resting spot for our electrical connection here in the vault. So we're back in the vault, and I can show you the float switch, which is right here, and it's mounted. Here's the ceiling right here, and the switch itself. I'm working solo here. Let me get behind the camera so I can show you as best I can. Okay, so right there's the final resting spot for the electrical connection. I put it on the ceiling because when this vault is filled with water, it's going to have the least amount of head pressure up at the top ceiling, so there'll be the least amount of pressure on there, so you want to try to do that as well. Now, one other thing I'm going to note to you is that when I did the installation right there, and also on the left-hand side, what happened is that the SO cord, which is this cord right here, is a little bit more flexible than the pond shield. So I saw a crack right there when I went and did the installation, because the SO cord kind of kind of bent over a little bit, and it cracked just the seal going around there, around that grommet. So just as an extra precaution, since I'm going through all this trouble, so I went and put a dab of pure silicone on that side and on that side there. Now let me move that cord so you can kind of see a little better. But it's all the way around, and that's that. So anyways, and here's how the float switch now is going to operate. So basically it's real simple. When the water level comes up, it'll shut off the makeup water, and when it comes down right there, it'll make up the water. So the water level should be approximately here during most operations, which is below the level of that switch. When the water shuts off at the end of the day, it'll come up though, and it'll probably saturate this here. So that will be completely submerged in water during off-peak times and such. So anyways, that is the conclusion. I wanted to show you the final product. Thank you. So that concludes this video. I want to thank you for watching the video. If you could, please click on the like button to give me some extra likes, and also check out my YouTube channel. It's called Ken Training, and I have more videos about how to waterproof fountains using Pond Shield. We used it as the waterproofing for the fountain itself, where there was cracks and stuff like that. So you can see that on one of my videos as well. And that's it for now, and thank you for watching.